Are you claustrophobic? Can you imagine feeling trapped, walls closing in on you? No escape, and with oxygen running low, panic sets in. Well, that's what some people think happened to one of London's spies in 2010.
Hi, I'm Jordan here on KudzuCast. We talk all things strange, conspiracy, and paranormal. And today we're going to go over the case of Gareth Williams, a London spy who died in very mysterious circumstances in 2010. How is this case strange, you might ask? Well, Gareth was found dead and padlocked in a duffel bag, and the authorities wanted to rule it an accident. Yeah. Before we start this, I'd like to extend my condolences to Gareth's friends and family. Now let's get into the story. Gareth Wyn Williams was born on September 26, 1978 in Wales. Growing up, Gareth began studying mathematics part-time at Bangor University and graduated with a first-class degree at the age of 17. After receiving a PhD from the University of Manchester, he began working for the GCHQ. The GCHQ, or Government Communication Headquarters, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing intelligence and information to the government of the United Kingdom. Gareth was reportedly an intensely private man, but when colleagues noticed that he had been out of contact for several days, they contacted the authorities. Police went to visit Williams at a security service safe house on Monday, August 23, 2010 to perform a welfare check. When no one answered, the police eventually made their way in. The first thing the police noticed was the temperature. The heat was cranked up in Gareth's home. As police looked around, they eventually came upon a red bag in the bathroom. The red bag was padlocked from the outside with the keys inside. Also in that bag was Gareth's naked and decomposing body. Gareth's date of death was estimated to be August 16th, about 1 week before he was found. Due to the nature of Gareth's work, working with intelligence and such, multiple organizations and agencies had to be involved. Gareth had recently qualified for operational deployment and had worked with US's NSA and FBI agents. The US State Department asked that no details of Williams' work should emerge at the inquest due to the sensitivity of his work. For the rest of the story, I'm going to use that word inquest a lot, but just think of it as an investigation. After launching an investigation, Coroner Fiona Wilcox said that there were no injuries on his body and no signs that he had been involved in a struggle, and his body was also free of alcohol and common recreational drugs. The Metro Police initially considered his death suspicious and unexplained. In December 2010, police released additional information stating that Williams had visited a number of bondage websites. Though it was stated that these visits were sporadic and isolated and had counted for only a small percentage of the time he spent online, Williams' wardrobe also contained 20,000 pounds in high-end women's clothing ranging from size small to medium, as well as 26 pairs of women's shoes ranging in size 6 to 6.5. There were also female wigs and makeup, and on one of his phones, there was video footage of him posing naked except for leather boots. 3 years before his death, the landlady of the annex flat that he had rented in Cheltenham for 10 years said that she and her husband discovered him shouting for help. His hands were tied to his bedpost. He stated that he was attempting to break free, and they just cut him free because they thought it was something sexual rather than escapology. Well, it's kind of looking like it was just an accident, right? Well, not so much. An expert who was called in to examine the bag in which Williams' body was discovered concluded that he could not have locked it. And according to a police spokesperson, if he was alive, he got into it voluntarily. If not, he was unconscious and placed in the bag. The heating in Williams' apartment had been turned on, and it's been suggested that the elevated temperature inside the apartment sped up Williams' decomposition. At the coroner's inquest in March of 2012, the family's lawyer, Anthony O'Toole, stated that a second person was either present when Williams died or broke in afterwards and stole some items. There was no forensic evidence to back up this claim, though. There was no evidence of forced entry, but it was also noted that the door and locks had been removed by the time the police experts arrived. So that's kind of strange. Williams would not have been able to lock himself in the bag, according to the evidence presented at the inquest. And just to be sure, 2 experts were brought in to try to recreate this feat. Despite 400 attempts, the two experts were unable to lock themselves in a similar bag, though one said there was a slim chance Williams had succeeded. Due to the difficulty of ranging a corpse in the position Williams' body was discovered in, pathologist Richard Shepard believes Williams was alive when he got into the bag. Another pathologist stated that after only 2 or 3 minutes in the bag, Williams would have died to hypercapnia, or elevated carbon dioxide levels. Also, an additional note, there were no gloves in the bag and there were no fingerprints on the padlock or the bag. So that's pretty odd. The coroner, Fiona Wilcox, stated that she would follow the evidence wherever it led. According to journalist Duncan Campbell, the inquest evidence revealed that Williams was part of a team of intelligence officers sent to penetrate US and UK hacking networks. He'd been to Black Hat briefings and DEF CON conferences in 2010. He began working for the Secret Intelligence Service, aka MI6, in London in the spring of 2009. And after completing a number of training courses, he began active operational work. A few months before his death, he requested a return to GCHQ because he disliked the rat race, flash car competition, and the post-work drinking culture at MI6, and wanted to return to the quiet countryside, which he was scheduled to in September, but unfortunately he did not make it. Now it's time for the coroner to make her decision. What happened to Gareth? In a narrative verdict, the coroner determined that Williams' death was unnatural and likely to have been criminally meditated. The coroner was satisfied that Gareth was killed unlawfully on the balance of probabilities, but there were insufficient evidence to give a verdict of unlawful killing. Basically, she thinks he was murdered, but there's not a lot of evidence to prove that he was. The coroner concluded that another party placed the bag containing Williams into the bath and locked the bag on the balance of probabilities. According to the coroner, Williams was probably alive when he was placed in the bag and died soon after from CO2 poisoning or a short-acting poison. There were no fingerprints found in the bath or on the bag. The coroner chastised MI6 for failing to report Williams missing for 7 days, causing additional anguish and suffering for his family and resulting in the loss of forensic evidence. The coroner rejected suicide, interest in bondage, cross-dressing, or the autoerotic activity being involved in Williams' death. She claimed his visits to the bondage websites were infrequent and did not indicate an active interest. The coroner condemned cross-dressing leaks as possible attempts at media manipulation. The coroner was also harsh on the Metro Police Counterterrorism Command, or SO-15, which failed to inform senior investigating officers of the existence of 9 memory sticks and other property at Williams' MI6 office before the inquest began. Also, while interviewing the MI6 officers, SO-15 neglected to take formal statements. According to the coroner, the possible involvement of MI6 personnel in Gareth's death is a serious concern. Due to all the criticism that the MI6 got from this coroner, there was a 12-month reinvestigation by the Metro Police, which the Metro Police had been given unprecedented access to current MI6 staff. But despite the re-examination of all the evidence and investigation of new leads, the Metro Police Deputy Assistant Commissioner Martin Hewitt announced that no definitive answers have been obtained as the cause of Williams' death, and that the most likely scenario is that he died alone in his flat as a result of accidentally locking himself inside the bag. In the fall of 2015, we seem to have gotten a little bit more information. Boris Korpichkov, a former KGB agent who defected from Russia and now lives in Britain, stated in interviews in September and October of 2015 that sources in Russia claimed that the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, also known as the SVR, was responsible for Williams' murder. Boris claims that the SVR attempted and failed to blackmail Williams in becoming a double agent. Williams allegedly claimed that he knew the identity of a Russian spy inside the GCHQ in response to the SVR's attempts of blackmail. And according to Boris, Williams' threat meant the SVR had no choice but to exterminate him in order to protect their agent inside GCHQ. Boris claimed that the SVR killed Williams by an untraceable poison introduced in his ear. I mean, if this is true, it kind of does explain what happened to Gareth. I mean, back in the police reports, they thought a short-acting poison could have been the result of his death. And if it is true, Gareth sounded like a badass for not folding under this blackmail attempt. All in all, this is a really weird case, but the spy v spy angle seems to make the most sense to me. But what do you think? Comment down below. And while you're down there, hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed this content. And if you liked this content, you might like these icebergs here. that go over other mysterious cases and people. But anyway, thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.